Speaking of breakfast, our next model will tell you how to make breakfast. So if Ma Barker needs lessons, we're going to introduce her to this particular woman. Her name is Fanny Farmer. She was an American culinary expert whose Boston Cooking School cookbook became the widely used culinary text. She was the oldest of 4 daughters, born in a family that highly valued education and expected her to go to college. Now that's absolutely amazing in what would have been about 1870. They expected her to go to college. Unfortunately, she suffered a paralytic stroke at the age of 16. Fanny could not continue her formal education, and for several years she was unable to walk and remained in her parents' care at home. But during this time, she took up cooking, eventually turning her mother's home into a boarding house that developed a reputation for the quality of meals it served. At the age of 30, Farmer, now walking but with a substantial limp that never left her, enrolled in the Boston Cooking School. She trained at the school until 1889 during the height of the domestic science movement and was considered one of the school's top students. She published the best-known work, the Boston Cooking School Cookbook, in 1896. Her cookbook introduced a very unique and novel concept, using standardized measuring spoons and cups. Now, up until this point, if you had a recipe that was written down and it said it was a teacup of flour, you went and got your teacup. Look around you. From table to table, what are the different sizes of teacups you have out here? It was not standardized. So what was a teacup for you was not necessarily a teacup for your neighbor, and you wonder why your cookies or cakes come out differently. The same with spoons. What's a tablespoon? What's a teaspoon? Fanny Farmer is the one who standardized that and made actually reading recipes out of a cookbook an absolutely surefire, well, if you can plan breakfast, way of cooking. Her cookbook contained nearly 1,850 recipes, from milk toast to zagaras à la Russe. The publisher didn't think there would be good sales and limited the first edition to 3,000 copies, published at Fanny's own expense. It was so popular in America, so thorough and so comprehensive, that cooks would refer to later editions simply as Fanny Farmer Cookbook, and it's still available in print over 100 years later. So there. We're going to describe the dress she's wearing. This is absolutely a day dress, and it came to us with a tag on it that said kitchen dress. We weren't quite sure what that meant, but we know that it's washable. It's calico, so if you ever read like the old Laura Ingalls Wilder's book and you always sort of wonder what that is, it's a very washable cotton print fabric that makes up just beautifully, and that's what this particular dress is made of. It's long, clear to the floor, which would be appropriate for the 1890s, long-sleeved. Now, you think in the heat of the kitchen, long sleeves are wrong. You forget the kind of kitchen we're talking about. Very much necessary to protect your skin from spatters and burns and flying sparks from the coal and wood in the stoves that you're using at this particular time. But she's conscious of how she looks. She's got a little lace fichu right here at her neckline, tucked her hair up under a cap, and is wearing a fairly ornate apron. She probably didn't actually cook in that apron. It's just too ornate, but she put on one of her prettiest ones just to come here and visit you. One of our dedicated models collects old kitchen equipment, and she's lent us the bowl and egg beater that she's carrying with her at this time. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? So here's our Fanny Farmer ready to make you something delicious to eat. Thank you very much. Our next author writes in rather a different venue than the one we've talked before. She definitely has published books, but if most of the time we are going to talk about or see her written work, you read it in the newspaper this morning. I'd like to introduce you to Dear Abby. It's a wonderful 1950s dress we've got here. Let's talk about the dress first for this one. We call this a dusty blue taffeta cocktail dress with a little bit of ribbed stitching here. Fashion-wise, the 1950s really began in the late 1940s. February 12, 1947 was the day that Paris designer named Christian Dior introduced his first collection. His designs were totally different from the styles the women had been wearing for almost 2 decades. Ernestine Carter summarized the new look, as it was dubbed in Harper's Bazaar, as the women were arrogantly swinging their vast skirts, soft shoulders, tiny bodices, and wasp waists, the tiny hats bound with veils. They swirled on contemptuously, bowling over ashtrays like ninepins. Now, remember, we're following the war years, and at some point you're going to see a 1940s suit, and remembering that there was fabric rationing before that. So this big swirly skirt was really unique to the eye. All of a sudden, you don't have to worry where every inch of your fabric is coming from. So we've got this wonderful taffeta, which makes a little rustly noise as she walks, showing us a classic new look here. To support the skirt, we've got little lines of ruching all the way around the skirt itself, nipped in at the waist with a black patent leather belt, matching her black patent leather handbag. We have just entered the world of matchy-matchy. We're matching the hat, we're matching the purse, we're matching the belt, we're matching the shoes. Never has matchy-matchy been so prevalent in fashion as it is in the 1950s. It's both a joy and a problem for anyone who dresses from this era. It requires a crinoline to hold this skirt out and swirl it the way so it can bowl over the ninepins. Oh dear, she's showing her underwear. Women are still wearing gloves. A sweetheart neckline here is lovely, and then you look at the way the hat sits on her head. Now, this is pre-pillbox, but it's shadowing what's going to come with the pillbox, and it sits square, and it's fairly flat, sort of a pancake, not quite a pancake hat, and just a little bit of a raised lip. We'll be looking at some of those in a little bit here, but I want to call it to your attention here in the 1950s. Let's talk about Dear Abby. Dear Abby. Well, her real name was Pauline Phillips, and she was a California housewife who transformed herself into a syndicated columnist. She did it because her sister had already done it. Her twin sister, Esther Pauline, this one's Pauline Esther, just so you know, beat her into the world by 17 minutes and beated her into the syndicated columnist by a couple of months. She was working for a newspaper in Chicago. Well, she was having trouble. Her sister was having trouble answering some of her columns, so she sent them to the sister in California, our dear Abby, and said, what would you do? How would you answer this? And so our dear Abby sent her back some very snippy answers. Well, they're the ones that were getting published. Well, the Chicago people sort of said, you got to stop that, so she couldn't send them anymore, and our dear Abby had gotten a taste for writing those. So she approached the San Francisco Sun-Times and said, I want to do your advice column. I think that I can do better than the person that you're already doing it. So mostly to sort of get her out of off the phone, says, well, if you ever come by sometime, drop in and we'll see. She was there the next day. In Dior, wearing Dior. Yes, absolutely. So they gave her some backup things, said, you write answers for those. Liked her answers so much that within the week she was being published. If only to get rid of it. The job was hers, and they paid her a wonderful $20 a week. An immediate success, the column was quickly syndicated, but both her growing renown and became a growing estrangement from her twin. Dear Abby and Ann Landers battered each other in syndication, and according to many accounts, the sisters did not speak for 5 years, reconciling in the mid-1960s. Dear Abby lived to the age of 94 and passed away just in 2013, which is one of the reasons we like to have her come out, just as a little honor for everything she's done for every mother who ever wanted to know which way the toilet paper should be handed ever. And other very, very important things. Thank you, Anne, for coming out and being Dear Abby for us. We're now going to start a new section here of something we call all my models to come out. That way you get a chance to see everything again, plus all the wonderful women who make this happen. Fashion shows like this don't happen just with the models you see out here. We have marvelous women in the back room working tirelessly to get these women dressed and changed and out here. So I'd like the volunteers to come out and also take a bow, because they deserve all your applause as well. That's Lynn and that's Mary. So we hope you enjoyed the show. We thank you very much for having us come and for supporting Children's Hospital. And this is the point where if you have any questions, we'd be very happy to answer them for you.